Hey there, island dreamers, locals, and anyone craving a slice of paradise. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time, to the Fun and Key West podcast, where the vibe is always laid back, the stories are salty, and the drinks, well, they're definitely frozen. I'm your host, Michelle O'Connor, your unofficial tour guide to the Conquered Public. Whether you're planning your first trip, your fifth trip, or you're just daydreaming about trading the cubicle for the ocean breeze, you are in the right place. Here's the deal. This podcast is your insider's guide to all things Key West. We're talking where to eat, hello, conch fritters and key lime pie, where to drink, spoiler alert, there will be rum, where to stay, and all the quirky, wonderful things that make Key West the one-of-a-kind paradise we all love. Plus, we'll keep you up to date on the latest happenings, festivals, events, maybe even the occasional Hemingway lookalike sighting. And just to keep things spicy, we'll be bringing on some amazing guests now and then, locals, business owners, and people who know the island like the back of their sandy hand. So grab your flip-flops, pour yourself a cold one, and let's escape to the island state of mind together, whether you're tuning in from your hammock or your commute, while wishing it was a hammock. We've got all the Key West goodness coming your way. Thanks for being here. It's going to be a lot of fun in Key West. Let's dive in. Today, my friend, we are diving into the world of limes, crimes, and everything in between with the one and only Kim Stamps. From driving adventure tours across the country to walking the quirky streets of Key West, Kim's journey is anything but ordinary. So grab your favorite tropical drink, kick back, and let's get this island party started. But I'm going to give a little bit of a caveat here or a disclaimer. The audio on this is not my best, but I did run it through several software platforms to clean it up. But I think you're going to really enjoy this episode, and you are going to want to book a tour with Kim immediately after we are done with this. Thanks.
Free audio post-production by FunInKeyWest.com.
So, Kim, welcome to Fun in Key West podcast, and we are live. So as people come join us, we will obviously have questions, but we're going to start today with, we've known each other for probably, I'm going to say a decade. Does that sound about right?
Probably. I was thinking about that a little while ago.
Yeah.
And I started up the Keys in 2016, and that's probably when I reached out to you.
Yeah.
Coming up on 10 years, yeah.
Yeah. And you've lived in Key West, what, 18 years?
18 years, yeah.
But your path to Key West was not anything wasn't anything ordinary. If someone was to meet you today and you're on a tour or you're just sitting on Duval Street, what's the one thing about your journey that would surprise them most at this point?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one.
I know.
What would surprise people?
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard, Michelle.
Well, let's go back to something easy then. I'll let you think about this. So for everybody that's joining us live, this is Kim Stamps, and she is a tour guide extraordinaire from and lives in Key West, and you're from Florida. And we met, like I said, about a decade ago, and your story is absolutely amazing, and you do amazing tours. And so I thought, you know what? Everybody needs to learn about what you're doing now and your story. So you actually went to school to be a tour guide. When you tell people that, do they think, oh, no, you can't go to school to do that?
Yeah, I call it tour guide school. It was after college. I got a finance degree, and I decided not to go into that world. I didn't want to work in a cubicle 90 hours a week. And a friend of mine told me about this school in San Francisco. I call it tour guide school. But it's more prestigious than that. They taught us how to conduct tours anywhere in the world to places we'd never been.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's like the synopsis of what I learned. I didn't travel the world as a tour guide, but I did travel our entire country, all but 5 states and parts of Canada as a tour guide.
Now, that's a way to explore and learn about where you're at, because you're going to have to learn something to do a tour. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I had to do a crash course every morning about where we were going, and I was driving too. I was an adventure tour guide. So I drove small groups all over the country. So I had to it was before GPS, before I had a cell phone, but it only worked in the cities. So we were like off grid, basically.
You were off grid and before chat. So, yeah, I mean, you actually had to do the research.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you built up and then sold Up the Keys tours. And that was a tour that was focused on wildlife and conservation. And you had this road trip with friends vibe going on. What did that experience teach you that you're now using in some of your tours you do today?
Well, I'll tell you, that was the first business I ever started. And there were days when I was like, what am I thinking? Now I understand why people buy businesses instead of start businesses because it's so complicated and there's no guidebook.
Right.
You can read the books that are kind of like guidebooks, but they don't guide you in your own business,
Right.
So I did take what I learned with that in terms of starting up a business and worked with Yvonne. She's my business partner for the Tart Tales walking tours and Eyewitness True Crime. We worked together. I took my business knowledge of starting a business and I was able to take what I learned from Up the Keys and put it into starting these two businesses.
That's
So
awesome.
I feel like I kind of, jumped a little curb on the way. But the marketing, it's still the same.
Yeah, it's still the same. It really was. So what was it like selling Up the tours, Up the Keys tours? You started this, it was your baby. Was it terrifying? Was it exciting? What was it like?
I started in 2016 and then we had Hurricane Irma in 2017, which completely annihilated what I call my touring grounds. Completely annihilated it. And there was really no way to change locations because we're in Key West and we go up the Keys, and all of the Keys were ruined. You know what I mean? I switched into volunteers, volunteers.
Yep.
But I basically had to rebuild the business for that hurricane. And then we were doing really well. I had record months. Everything was going good. And then we had the pandemic.
Yep.
And that completely stopped my wheels rolling, shut me down like everybody else. The whole world was. So once it started reopening, I started doing walking tours because people didn't want to get in the van. And so I started walking tours under the Up the Keys brand. And built the business up again. So this is free time. And it got to where I was just like, I can't really grow this business anymore by myself. And I didn't want to take on a business partner. And I felt like it was time to pass the torch
Right.
to somebody else. So when I found the guys that bought it, they were so nice. They're from Canada and so nice. And they were really excited about the Keys and they had that fire,
Yeah.
and I felt good about telling it to them. And they took my advice. I suggested that they start doing shuttle rides because they're located in Key Largo. So they did that. They took on Troy. I think he's a business partner with Scott and Maddie, and he's doing a great job. They've got more vans, everything that I wanted to do to scale, they were able to do. So
Yeah.
I'm super happy for them. And the nice thing is they actually have me conduct tours sometimes for them.
So maybe
It was like the old days,
yeah. Testing your knowledge and seeing all you remember.
Yeah, and it's funny, I remember, my memory is horrible short term, but I remember all the tour information from these, the whole tour,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in Key West, you've driven pedicabs and the tour van for Up the Keys. And so you've got a lot of that knowledge. And like you said, you transitioned into the walking tour. So now you're in with Tart Tales and you've launched a brand new tour. We're going to talk about Tart Tales in a little bit, but let's talk about Eyewitness Crime Tour. How would you describe this to somebody who doesn't know anything about it?
It's hard to describe without
I
giving
know.
away the farm.
I know.
It's so my main tagline for this is, sorry, I'm right in the flight path.
People are living vicariously through you because you're sitting there in Key West in a tank top and, no sleeves in your shirt.
I know. I don't mean to make y'all jealous. But so Eyewitness True Crime Tours, expect the unexpected. So there are surprises along the way. They're surprises. So they come when you don't expect them.
Good.
And we're basically like bringing crime alive in the streets of
Mm-hmm.
Key West. So it's not just walking around listening to stories about past historical crimes. It's more than that.
It really is. It's in a fabulous tour. Kevin and I took it and just loved it. It's about 90 minutes and you go about 6 blocks, maybe?
It's like 6 blocks. If you ride your bike to the tour start and have to go back to the tour start, it's like 9 blocks because we finished 3 blocks from the start. But
Yeah.
it's convenient. We finished 1 block from Duval Street from
Yeah.
Sloppy Joe's. So
Yeah.
it's super convenient.
So, what was interesting is if you've taken other tours in Key West, ghost tours, walking tours, history tours, all of that, there are stories that you hear over and over. But your new eyewitness crime tour has new stories in it or expands some of those other stories. You did a lot of research on the stories that we hear along the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting. We've had a lot of locals on the tours already. And the one thing that really makes me feel good, and you said the same thing, is I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because these are real stories that were like in the Key West Citizen and in the Miami Herald.
Mhm.
It was before social media, but it was in the newspaper. And so some people will remember, like you said, like they'll remember a little bit of the story, but they won't know the backstory or the rest of the story or what happened in the
Mhm.
end. And so we dug deep and Yvonne and I worked real closely together to figure out which stories to include, which stories we can like not include even though we really want to, because there's only so much you can do,
Right.
and unfortunately, there's a significant amount of crime in Paradise.
There
But
is.
fortunately, it's not a lot of violent crime. There is some violent crime, and we do touch on that in the tour. But a lot of it is, I would say, not considered violent crime,
No.
and
No.
in the end, don't get caught. I
May-
had to think about it, like maybe all of them get caught,
Maybe.
you know? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we do talk about bad cops. We had a few bad cops, but we also have a lot of respect for our police department. So we're not saying the cops today are bad. We're saying the cops back then were bad.
Correct.
Not all of them, some of them.
Yeah.
Same with the fire department. We might have had a bad fireman in the mix, but that's life, right? That's the way it goes. Uh-oh, here comes. It's a busy day at Key West Airport.
That's Monday. It's Monday, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. Look at everybody's coming into the new international airport there, and it's nice. It's not as large as people think it's going to be if you've not been there, but we were really impressed. It's nice.
Yeah.
Although
It's so much more relaxing now, isn't it? When
it
you have to
is.
leave, it doesn't feel so bad.
You don't feel like you're jammed into one large room. There's room to move. There's room to walk. Yeah, it's a lot better. When people take your eyewitness tour, have you had anybody react a way that you didn't expect, other than, "Hey, I didn't know this"?
I've had people react in ways that were beyond my expectations. So, like, I have certain things that I would like to see or hear or have happen on the tour, and they happen. Say the things that I'm hoping they'll say. Like they're uncertain of some things along the way,
Right.
and I like that. It gives a little bit of mystery and suspense. You may have felt that yourself at some point during the tour. Just recently, I had a lady who was hiding behind her husband. Like, job well done, Kim.
And it's not because it's a scary tour. It's just you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're in the moment and you feel like you're not sure about what's going on right now, but you're on a tour, your
Yeah.
tour guide doesn't seem concerned. Your tour guide's still laughing.
Yeah.
But when you have that element of like being uncertain, I think sometimes it brings up a little bit of fear in people. And I'm not trying to scare people. And we're very careful about, making sure people understand it's still a tour. We're not going to put you in harm's way.
No.
know?
No.
I mean, her hiding behind her husband was a highlight for me.
I like that. I like that. And like I said, I'm having an interesting conundrum trying to describe the tour without telling people what the tour is. But there is a link down below if anybody wants to check out and book while they're in Key West. And if you're watching us live, be sure to say hey so we can do a shout out. The other thing that is interesting is it's a little bit different in terms of your expectation. You're not looking for a ghost. You're not, looking at history. It's that other component of Key West, and it adds to the character and the vibe, I think, of the island. But you can't come.
Part of our history that is not, it's not exposed
Right.
typically to the public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
we want everything to be happy and like wonderful and rainbows and butterflies in Key West, which it is. But we do have this dark side,
Yeah.
and the ghost tours, they touch on it a little bit, but they're focusing on the paranormal part of it,
Right.
and we're focusing on the truth part of it.
Yeah.
So I found it really interesting and something that's really fun for me. I'm such a nerd that I keep researching. So
Yeah.
I like added 2 new stories the other night, like little quick stories because I'm like, "Oh, these are good. I can include them, while
Hmm.
we're watching." And I also dig deeper into some of the other stories and I find out more and more about these criminals and crimes that occurred in Key West. So
Cool.
it's a really good tour right now, but it's not always going to be the same.
Yeah. And I always tell people that because just because you've been on a tour doesn't mean it's the same tour every time. You're going to have different experiences because you may have a different tour guide. The stories may get updated or tweaked. Or, the other thing about it is it's who you're on the tour with. And you get to meet people and then go have a cocktail with them afterwards and talk about the stories.
Yeah. And
But
sometimes the questions that us during the tour sort of direct the tour another route. You're
yep,
still getting all the same as you would on any other tour, but maybe in a different way.
right.
So yes, everyone is a little bit different because we know the information. It's not a script. It's not a script. We
Right.
don't have to stay on script in order to conduct this tour. And I've never conducted my tours that way.
No, you haven't. So is this tour only offered at night?
Right now it is,
Okay.
at 8 PM. Right now we're offering like last minute availability on Friday and Saturday nights, and then I call it on demand on the other night. So
Okay.
basically, like if you want to go on Wednesday, just reach out to us and ask us, and we'll see if we can put one together for you real quick.
Sounds
Typically, we can. We've been
good.
able to so far. So
Good.
we haven't had to turn anybody down yet.
That's awesome.
But we are working on a daytime true crime as well because
Ooh.
it's been requested more than
Mhm.
once. So that one will be a little bit different. It'll probably be a little bit of a shorter route, but it'll still be an hour and a half.
Okay. And that would allow then if you, don't want to go out at night or if
Hang on. That was Spirit.
keep us up to date who's coming in.
Spirit.
You can plan if you're coming in just for the day because it's a stop along your cruise route that's up in the future that might occur. But if they are coming in or want to explore Key West's sweeter side, being key lime pie, you also have the Tart Tales tour. How do you tell stories with key lime pie?
Key lime pie has history. It dates all the way back to the 1800s here in Key West. And the key limes go back even farther. They go back to the 1400s. So we have a lot of history in terms of the limes and the pie. And then we have like Key West culture and the fun things that we do with key lime pie. So we share that too. Yvonne and I right now are the 2 tour guides for that tour, the Delta Prime tours. And we both run them both pretty much the same way. We carry iPads with historical photos.
Cool.
So that kind of enriches the experience,
Right.
We choose key lime pie spots. Some are restaurants, some are key lime pie shops, some are bars. It just depends on which places the guide wants to go to that day, really. And then we pick 3 of the best key lime pies that we can choose for that day. And then we top it off with a rum cocktail.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everything's good with key lime pie and rum.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot of history of Key West and the neighborhood that we're in. Right now, we're running the Seaport tour, and we also have a downtown one.
Okay.
The downtown one is the one that we run for the cruise ship passengers. And so that one, we pick up the cruise ship passengers from their cruise ship. They're exclusive to the cruise ship. And we bring them not too far from the ship. Again, it's about 6 blocks.
Mhm.
We just don't walk very far on our tours, on our walking tours. But we don't need to. There's
Right.
so much, there's so much in Key West. It's all, you don't have to go very
Right.
far to find a lot.
No.
But you learn about like where the first key lime pie was made, and you get plenty of photo opportunities. You get to try the pie. It's more, we've asked our pie shops to give us like half slices, and they're awfully generous. So be prepared to eat some pie.
There you go. And
Yeah.
so here's a serious question. Is there anything is there anything that you would determine is too much key lime research? I mean, can we eat too much pie?
No,
See, I tell people that all the time.
never enough pie.
No.
Some people ask about certain places, and I suggest going to them afterwards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Get one to go. Or for people that are staying overnight, like go tomorrow. Like try the pie everywhere you go,
Uh-huh.
because each one is a little bit different. And you might find that your favorite one isn't necessarily the most famous one.
Right.
It might. I don't have a favorite. I love them all. I'm telling you, I've yet to find a key lime pie I don't like.
I have to say I can't either. If you had to, and your tours were just going to be for locals,
Mhm.
would you do a crime tour or would you do a key lime pie tour? Or both?
I mean, my plan is to package them up to do both.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're totally different. Even though the routes parallel each other,
Mm.
but the tours are totally different. The history you get is totally different. And the experience is totally different. So
Yeah.
completely different experiences. I have found that a lot of locals have not gone on their own key lime pie tasting adventure. You
Really?
know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
maybe they've had a couple of key lime pies for dessert at dinner over the years. But a lot of them, when I ask them, like, have you been here? They're like, no, I've thought about it. Have you been here? No, I've thought about it. You know how that is.
Yeah.
You come when you live in a place where the visitors come in, and a lot of the locals don't do those things.
Right.
So yeah, it's fun. And again, we hear the same thing we hear on the crime tours. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You took us to a place and we had key lime pie, and I had never thought about having key lime pie there. And it was amazing. And it was like,
oh,
huh,
interesting. Didn't
yeah,
know that.
yeah. It was an interesting, didn't know that. Yeah. After all these years, I still can be surprised.
Yeah.
So if you could have one historical Key West character that could show up as a surprise guest on your tour, who would that be?
Like a real person?
Yeah. Like
Um,
living or dead. I would prefer dead, you know. Who would you like to have pop in and say, let me clarify. Let me explain.
yeah. Oh, I gotcha. I mean, for the key lime pie, like I would love to have Aunt Sally
Oh yeah.
our tour. If she could just show up at a pie shop, don't be giving me ideas here. If she could show up at a pie shop and tell us about making the first or the predecessor to the key lime pie, that would be super cool. Wouldn't that
That
be cool?
that would be very cool. That
I
would.
have a black and white picture of her. There's only one picture of her that I know of.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be really nice if she would come in and talk to us. Of course, she was from, the early 1900s,
Mhm.
so she would be like really old.
Yeah, but we could transport her in time to what
Maybe.
we would. Yeah, see, that's how that could work. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
absolutely.
then on the crime tours, I mean, here in Key West, where is Bumpardo? Like, wouldn't
Yeah,
it be nice?
yeah. If he showed up.
Bumpardo would like tell us where he's been all these years, because
Yeah,
it's still a question in all of our minds. I
yeah.
saw the play last year. Where is Bumpardo? Who knows?
Who knows? He's enjoying life.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly right. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important does footwear matter when you go on a walking tour? And is there any wrong choice?
When you go on our walking tour, I wear flip-flops.
Okay.
I wear chinos most of the time. If it's cold out, maybe I'll put on some tennis shoes for the crime tours. Depends on if it's like below 70.
I was going to say, let's have a definition of
Well,
cold in Key
cold,
West.
right.
Yeah.
But no, it's whatever you're most comfortable in. Some people need that arch support, and in that case, they should wear the
Mhm.
shoes that are best for them. Because if you think about 6 blocks, it's a little bit more than a half a mile. When you
Yeah.
put it that way, it sounds a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But we also take breaks. We have spots where you can sit down. The Key Lime Pie Tour, we have 4 stops, and you're sitting down eating pie. So you're not even standing very much. Like, it's just not very much,
Yeah. But you're eating pie.
You are
That's
eating pie.
that.
You walk a little bit of it off,
Mm,
a little
yeah,
bit.
a little, but it's all right. What is people's largest misconception about people like you who live in Key West and work in the hospitality industry?
What I've found is that a lot of people, another one coming over. That's a private one.
Oh,
Couldn't see in the window. Uh, but I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. The
big
misconception.
conception of people have about living in Key West and doing and working in the hospitality. When people tourists come in, what's their biggest misconception?
Yeah, I think a lot of people now know that we all work multiple jobs, and we all wear multiple hats. Like right now, I'm wearing this, but really it's.
Yeah.
And I think that they perceive that maybe that's a burden, that maybe we work more than we want to. And I've found that, like, if you like your job, we got some pretty fun jobs down here.
Yeah,
I got some great jobs. Like, I got the best jobs in the world.
Yeah.
I don't mind working 3 or 4 different jobs to mix up my day and be able to pay my expenses, you
Yep.
know?
That's
And I feel like some people, when they think about, oh my gosh, I couldn't possibly work 2 or 3 jobs, it's different for us down here because the jobs we're working are typically fun. We
yeah.
like them. Bartenders like to be bartenders a lot of the
Mhm.
times. Servers like to be servers. Tour guides love to be tour guides.
Yep.
And I've always said, if you don't like your job, just go get another one because, yeah, everybody needs good, hard workers that love their jobs here.
That's true. And so you didn't take a path that was ordinary. I think you, how long did you last in an office job?
So I did, my first job was actually with Pizza Hut.
Oh,
I was a server with Pizza Hut,
okay.
and I went into management with them.
Uh-huh.
And so I received Pizza Hut management training, which at the time was the best corporate management training country. And so I learned a lot about customer service and managing people and a lot of those things that you can't necessarily learn in small business, you
Right.
know? And then I went on and worked in an office. I worked for a ceramic tile distributor while I was in college. I was in college for a long time because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Me
I
too.
switched, a few times. I just kept going, and I'm really glad I did. So I got a lot of education, and so I did work in an office environment, office or warehouse. I was American.
There you go.
In like an office and warehouse environment for I think a total of like 8 years. I worked for 2 different companies doing that. So I learned a lot about small business. And then that's when I had to stop. I had to do something else. I couldn't see myself going and living in a big city as like a hedge fund manager, which I thought I wanted to do,
Right.
and mess around with numbers and the stock market and everything. And I just couldn't do it. So
No.
I switched gears and went to tour guide school.
That makes a lot of sense. So for somebody who hasn't pursued the ordinary, what's your advice to somebody who says, I want to do what she does? What's your advice?
So I actually had that moment in my life when I went to tour guide school And then I finished and I was applying for jobs. I saw a picture of Monument Valley with a tour group and tour guide, and everybody's got their hands in the air and they've got their tents in the background and they're camping in Monument Valley. And I looked at that screen and I said, I want to be that guy. That's who I want to be right there. And I became that person. And so I feel like if you find something that you really feel strongly that you want to do, you can do it. You just have to go for it, you know? If you want to be a tour guide, you can be a tour guide. Go start learning the history. Go on some tours. Pay attention to what your guide is doing. If you want to go travel the world as a tour director, call my school, International Tour Management Institute, and go
Very
to that school. It was like 2 or 3 weeks, and they taught us so much, and that's when I really got my love for history,
good.
was when I went to that school. But, anybody can be a tour guide, but not everybody can be a good tour guide.
Right.
You know, some people can read a script and be that kind of a tour guide, and some people can learn because they have the passion for it, what it is, learn it all, and then be able to tell it in a fun and exciting way.
Yep.
That to me is a real true tour guide.
Yep. Yep. No, I think that's the thing is people just have to decide what am I going to do and not wait, just go do it. And I think
Oh
that's
my God. Yeah, like run to it. You
yep.
know what I mean? When I left to go to school, I mean, I quit my job and
Mhm.
I paid for that school with a credit card. Like I went for it. You know,
You walked out on faith.
if you watch Shark Tank, they
Mhm.
say it if you go 100% in, you can be successful.
Yep.
But until you're 100% in, you might get
Yeah,
a little bit of success.
that's true.
You got to go all in. Just go forward. Just look forward and make it happen. And that's what I do in my life.
Yep. I think that's really good advice. As we're coming up on the end of the year and everybody's starting to make their goals and their resolutions, I think that's good advice to bring everybody forward into the new year with. So, what's next for you in Tart Tales and Eyewitness? You've alluded to some things. Is there anything that you want to else
So
you want to tell us?
we are working with the cruise ships. And so we are gradually being represented with the shore excursions on multiple cruise ships that
Good.
come to Key West. So we'd like for people to keep their eye out
Mhm.
and book it through the cruise ship. That's going to be the best way to book. In fact,
Yeah.
if you're on a cruise ship that we're already contracted with,
Mhm.
you have to go through the cruise ship.
Right.
And it's better that way because then you're on an exclusive tour with just people from your ship.
Right.
And the days that we offer it, we're going
Hmm.
to be working with the cruise ship company. So the
Good.
cool thing is you'll be able to book directly through your shore excursion manager, which is awesome.
Or your travel agent.
Or your yeah, because you can do shore excursions.
Yes.
So you can
Yep.
book in advance, which is
Hmm.
even better for us because then we already have like a count, we got a count going.
Yep.
So yeah, if they can book through you when they book their cruise,
Mhm.
that's the best way to go.
Yep.
Because they're small groups. We're talking 10 people.
Mhm.
They book fast. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
you could have somebody that books the cruise with you and then turns around and waits on their shore excursions. We got 10 people booked, they're out. We can't take anymore,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So, booking in advance for sure is the best way. The true crime tours we're going to be offering on the ships too for the daytime. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So it may not be this season,
Yeah.
but by this time next year, we should have both tours going on the cruise ships.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. So I always tell people you're going to want to go on a tour with somebody in Key West. Take a tour. I don't care what tour you take. I would prefer them to take Tart Tales or Eyewitness, but take a tour because you get to pick the brain of your tour guide on places to go. And I know you get inundated with these questions every single time. Best place to go, best place to eat, all of that. So what is your go-to answer if somebody says, what's the best place for me to go eat?
It's so funny because, like, that question, there's another question that follows that.
Yeah.
You feel like eating, right? And all of us locals do it. All of us locals do that. And so because you have seafood, you have burgers, you have appetizers, you have dessert, you want another slice of key lime pie. Like, there's
Right.
just so many different ways you can go. Pizza. And so I typically recommend, it depends on the people too, how long they're staying and everything. But at the end of our tour, we're finished downtown. If they're still hungry after that pie, I usually direct them to the seafood restaurants on the waterfront.
Yeah.
You got nice, fresh local seafood there. And I go over what it is that's fresh and local, you
Right.
know? So yellowtail snapper, Florida lobster, grouper, Key West pink shrimp. Always suggest eating the Key West pink shrimp.
right.
I've become a shrimp snob. Didn't mean to. It happened.
Just happened. And when you've had the best, you can't eat anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your go-to place if you're going out and saying, okay, this is what I want. This makes me happy. This is where I feel like I have filled every bucket check mark I have. What's your place?
So, like, for casual happy hour, it's the Boathouse.
Can't beat the Boathouse. Yep.
Recommend the Boathouse all the time. It's really good for dinner too, but happy hour for sure. And then one of my favorite, like, finer dining dinner, I really enjoy Cafe Soleil. The hogfish dinner at Cafe Soleil is big.
Yeah.
And I always go to the same thing.
Yeah. I end up doing that too. It's like, it's that follow on of where should we eat, but it's more of what do I want to eat? Because that will drive where we go, because I'm with you. I very rarely look at the menus. It's like I go there for this and I go there for that. And yeah.
I will say I did have the opportunity to go to Little Pearl the other night. And that's special. That's when you want to go have like a tasting adventure. I call it a party on your tongue.
Oh yeah.
Because that place just like is amazing.
Yeah. We happen
casual dinner.
No, we happened to walk down there and they happened to have 2 seats available at the bar for the tasting that night. And it was like, I ain't passing this up. I'm just going to try it. And I'll tell you what, that is absolutely an experience.
It is. Yeah.
It is so much fun. So, what kind of last words, what are your last words you want to give for anybody watching about either Key West, you, the tours, all of the above?
I think, one thing we didn't touch on is that we also can put together private custom walking tours.
Okay.
That don't necessarily have to be themed. They don't have to be key lime pie or crime. But in terms of like, thank you for watching and listening. And I like to say there's always time for lime and crime.
Ooh, I like that. You need to make a shirt out of that. There's always time for lime and crime. I like it. So as all of you are watching, remember there are links below to learn more about Tart Tales and the Eyewitness Crime Tour. And of course, that site will also take you to the availability of creating your own custom tour. And so there's no better way to explore Key West than through food or crime. Not that you're going to commit the crime, but to learn about the
you know what? Like, sometimes crimes happen on our crime tours.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. They do.
I'm surprised that you walk away feeling a little bit like a criminal.
But you can then go celebrate because you got away with it.
You can celebrate your criminal status. Yes.
There you go. Well, Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We're going to fade out with our new podcast theme song. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll catch you guys later.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to Fun in Key West, where every day feels like a mini fest. Grab a drink, take it slow. We'll show you where the locals go. Food, fun, and stories to tell. Hidden gems you know so well. Your Key West experts here to say it's fun.
Big thanks to Kim for sharing her incredible stories and giving us a taste of Key West's sweeter and spicier sides. Remember, there's always time for lime and crime, so book your tour and make some unforgettable memories. Until next time, keep it fun, keep it Key West, and don't forget to try the key lime pie.
Free audio post-production by FunInKeyWest.com.